You've tuned in to the BAM Pod, brought to you by Black Bear Diner, Chicken Ranch Casino Resort, Mercury Marine, Vexus Boats, StoreQuest Storage Solutions, Bass Boat Technologies, and Tackle Warehouse. Now, kick back and enjoy the next great episode of the BAM Pod. All right, welcome in everybody to the BAM Pod. This is Big Ed, your host, and on the line tonight, I have got TY Manterola, man, Mr. Second Place. No, I'm just kidding, Ty. You know, he's gone out there. He has been right there. I don't know how many top tens you got, but you got a lot, man. You know, if you're taking second all the time, you're getting a lot of top tens, no matter what. Cashing those checks, you got money coming in. You put a new baby on the planet this year. Well, yeah, you got all kinds of stuff going on. But what we're going to be talking about is this whole scoping thing, this mid-strolling, this, you know, all these different words you just ran off at me a minute ago. We're going to be talking a little bit about that with everybody today. It is the whole forward-facing sonar phenomenon thing has come, it's gone, and it's one of those things, it's going to be around for a very long time. And maybe people will just start listening, paying attention, and going, you know what? I think I better get into this. It's going to be here for a minute. So, Ty, let's talk a little bit about it, man. What do you got to say? And welcome into the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on again. I always love the opportunities to do these. But yeah, you hit me up and said you want to talk about mid trolling. I love that technique. It's a dominating technique right now, and it's a super efficient way to catch them. So yeah, I'm happy to talk about whatever you want to with it. It's a very, I mean, you can go pretty deep into it. You can keep it simple. It's kind of like any other technique. So.
Yeah, you know, it's one that I think so many people see it. It's been dominating. I mean, you've been working it pretty hard, catching good fish. I know I know it's not one of your maybe it is. You know, is it one of the things that you really do a lot when you're out there fishing, or are you focused on other things as well?
I mean, it just depends on the tournament, you know. I would say I caught them on a minnow in three out of the five Super 60 events last year. I caught them on Pedro on it, caught some on the Columbia River on it, and then the championship at Clear Lake. So I mean, yeah, it's one of those things that when it's going down, you better be doing it because it's a very dominating technique.
Now, I've seen a couple videos of people that they call it blind strolling, where they're just casting that minnow out. Now, mind you, I've always done that because I don't know how to. I don't use have forward facing sonar, so it's one of those things that's like, is it just about taking a minnow, throwing it out, reeling it back in, or is there a whole lot more to it?
No, there's so much more to it. And as the years have gone by and they've seen thousands of them now and they're getting more and more pressured, when forward facing sonar, when the whole minnow trolling craze really first came out, they were dumb. I mean, you could catch them underneath your trolling motor, but they have gotten so wise to it. They've gotten so much pressure. You know, they used to pretty much take the winter off. They'd go suspend out in the middle of the lake and nobody knew they were out there or how to target them. And so no, they'd get 4 months off where nobody would fish for them, and then they would be biting like crazy once they started pulling back up in the spring. But now they get no breaks, man. It doesn't matter if they're in 50 foot of water, floating in the middle of the lake, on the bank. Like these fish are always getting beat up and targeted. So they're just getting smarter and smarter to it. So it's really, you got to be a lot more precise with how you present your bait, your boat positioning, your distance from the fish gets further more important every year. Your presentation, I mean, everything. It's just, it gets harder and harder to do, and you kind of got to stay on top of the game.
Yeah, I saw some interesting things. Guys are now throwing these really long rods, like 8 foot, 9 foot rods to throw, so they get these extra long casts. All these weird heads that are coming out now. Is there any one? I mean, let's just do it this way. If you had one setup to do, and you're gonna be doing this whole technique, what's the one setup that you really think works the best for people to just go out and it's like, you know what, I need to try this out. This is what you should go get.
Yeah, so I've been using this rod for almost 2 years now. It's a UCall International Midnight 711 MLS. So it's a 7-1 medium light. Um, I have a couple other rods for certain specific minnows that I will throw. either a 732, which is a 7.3 medium, a little bit stiffer, or actually we're coming out with a 6.5 medium light, so a lot
Okay.
shorter.
Wow.
But just in general, 90% of the time, I'm throwing that 7.1 medium light. You want a rod that's super bendy in the tip, has a super quick tip to it to have the control over rolling that bait when you're shaking it. And then you want almost like a moderate fast bend past that. So you want that really quick tip and you want to still have some give to it, but not enough to where it shouldn't, the minnow shouldn't itself with the weight of the minnow shouldn't be able to bend that part of the rod. So the first little 10% of the rod, just the tip, should be able to be moved by that minnow when you're shaking it. And then you want a little bit stiffer, but still a good moderate bend. That way, when you load up on the fish, you drive the hook home good and can control them a lot better. Because I mean, you don't want like a medium heavy with a super quick tip, right?
Okay.
You want that rod to load deep, still have that quick tip to move the minnow, load deep to load them up and control the fish during the fight. And then, just enough backbone to where you can get the hook home on a long cast. So yeah, that you call 7.1 medium light. I've, I mean, it's kept my freaking family fed for the last few years. It's amazing. I love that rod. And then as far as spinning reels, I go on a bigger spool. I go a size 3,000 or 300 on the Lose stuff. It's a Lose custom
Okay.
light spinning reel. I like the bigger spinning reel for a few reasons. Main one is castability. You can get a further distance when you're throwing light baits with that bigger, wider spool. You can fit more line on it, and your gear ratio. With that bigger spool, it just takes up more line once you get down. And it doesn't go as deep into that spool because when you're casting line out, your gear ratio gets slower and slower because it's picking up less line as that spool gets smaller. So being able to have a big wide spool like that, you keep that 6:2 to 1 gear ratio throughout it, even on the end of the long cast. So if you get one that eats it running at you, you're able to jam him.
Okay. As far as line and all that, is it, when I think about the way, to fish a minnow like that, usually it's something, fluorocarbon, it's something very clear because they're focusing on a minnow. You don't want them seeing that line. Do you go extra small with that? Or does it just not matter?
Very rarely. I normally am anywhere from the 12 to 15 pound leader
Wow. Okay.
on fluorocarbon. They're looking up at your bait. They're not seeing your line. I will in very clear water scenarios, if I'm fishing like a Mojave or something, I might
Right.
go to like an 8 pound. But in general, as far as fishing a minnow, you're always keeping that thing above the fish. They're looking up at it. I mean, if you look at a lot of the guys, on the tours and stuff, and you look, their leaders are like a foot long. That way that they
Mm.
have no stretch. They got their braid controlling the bait, and they really get a good, nice twitch to the bait and get the good rolling action. So yeah, I'm not a believer that line size matters on a minnow. I try to go heavier just to make sure, dealing with big fish and cover and stuff like that. If I can get away with it, I would say my main size would probably be 12 pound.
Okay.
Um, 12-pound cigar tatsu, but I'll go all the way up to 15 and I will go down to 8 if I feel like it's making a difference. But most of the time, I feel like you can get away with heavier line on a minnow.
Yeah, we were just out, in some pretty clear water out there on Havasu. Was that one of
Mhm.
those things? Now, when you're fishing something like that, and because I know Havasu is known for the cages, it's the stuff down there, but it's also known for those mussels. Is that something when you're? How do you balance that? Because now you're talking about super clear water, and you're talking about, you got to control the zebra or the mussel population, touching that line.
Yeah, and that's such a catch 22 because it's like you probably depending on how beat up they are and stuff. With a minnow, I would stay on Havasu. I'd say that 12 to 15. But like last year in the one bass when I was fishing there, I had to throw 6 pound on my drop shot. I was catching them on drop shot. I
Wow.
could not get bit on 10 or 8 near as good. And my theory behind that is, well, you got to get the bite first, and worry about the rest of it later. So yeah, you're probably going to saw off a couple more fish on cages, but if you never get the bite, then what difference does it make? So I just obviously just the heaviest leader you can get away with. But if you got to go lighter, you got to go lighter, and that's just the way it is. Got to get the bite first and figure out how to get them in the boat after that.
I like it. That's a great attitude to have, and I've always thought that same thing. It's like if you don't get the bite, what does it matter? You use,
Yeah,
1 pound line. It don't matter. You gotta
yeah,
get them. But
exactly.
when we look at that, when I'm talking about this Mitch Strolling thing, for me, it's tough because people, that I say it all the time. It's like I have no idea what it is. I've never done it. I don't I don't think about it. So
Yeah,
people kind of made fun of me, and I'm like, I better get somebody on here to talk to. Now, there's some, it is. I don't want to say it's only for the younger guys. I mean, but Brendan Fraser's or Brendan Osborne's kind of messing with me on that one because he's out there just destroying it right now.
Yeah.
And I know he's a big fisherman of this technique as well. But it is the younger guys that are doing it. Um, do you think that it really makes a difference that you just have that confidence in what you're looking at? And what machine do which fish finder is working best for you and how you're doing it? And if you're telling somebody, hey, this is why I use it and this is what I would do, which one would you tell people to go buy?
So for me, I think that's all personal preference. All the forward facing sonar technologies on the market, it's whatever you are used to and what your eyes coincide with. Jacob Wheeler uses Active Target. Trey McKinney uses Garmin Live Scope. Brandon Polnick uses Humminbird Mega Live. They're all great with it. It's I used to use Active Target. When I moved to Texas, I was fishing around a lot of structure and cover and stuff and trees and stuff like that. So I ended up switching to Garmin because I like that better target separation. With Active Target, you can see fish on the bottom better and you can actually see your bait a little further. There's pros and cons to all of them. Whatever you're used to. If you're a Lowrance guy, use Active Target. If you're a Garmin guy, use a Garmin. If you're a Humminbird guy, use the Mega Live. I've never fished with the Mega Live. I heard they've made some improvements on their new one, but that has no bearing. That's just whatever your personal preference is. I prefer Garmin in general. So I run a Garmin GPS map 1643 with a LVS 34 transducer. So that's my setup, but that it honestly doesn't matter. If you take the 10 best scopers in the world, I bet you 4 of them are running Garmin, 4 of them are running Lowrance, and 2 are running Humminbird. So
Is this something that you think, the way you just kind of phrase that, the best guys in the world are running, or the best, strollers in the world are doing this thing? Is this just become something of a phenomenon for those guys that are doing this? Is this, I know that other baits, other things can work. And I mean, the guy, Havasu was not one doing it. It was, I believe, a major role in it. But I don't think the guy that won it was using that to win. Is this something that you
um
think's going to be there forever, or is it something that's a fad?
as long as they allow it, it'll be a factor in a lot of tournaments. And I'm sure Luke, I haven't really talked to Luke in detail about his win, but I'm sure he was at very minimum using forward facing sonar
Oh, I doubt it.
to
No.
to identify targets and stuff. So yeah, no, it's here to it's going to be a dominating factor, and it's not a young guys thing. The young guys
Okay.
were just ahead of the game with it, and I think they had a little bit were ahead of the learning curve on the technology just because they probably grew up with a little more technology. There's no doubt about that, but it's not. If anybody puts the work in, and it's amazing how much time all these guys have put into this. I myself, I when I realized how dominant it was going to be was when I got down to Texas a few years ago, and I stared at it. I made myself, even though I wasn't good with it, I could have caught more fish on the bank on a spook. I was like, I'm going to make myself. I don't care if I don't catch a bass. I'm going to make myself stare at this thing until I figure it out. And it's obviously been a huge key to some of my successes on the pro tour. But it's not an age thing. And God rest his soul, but I promise you, Aaron Martins would have been a lethal scoper if he was still around while the technology came. It's people that think about all the guys that were super good with 2D and side scan when it first came out. It's just the guys that are on it quicker. Kevin Van Dam was amazing with side scan. He dominated with it for a long time and guys were forced to catch up. It's the same thing. It's just some guys don't like it. And if they don't like it and they're allowing it in the tournaments they fish and they're refusing to get better with it, there's going to be certain tournaments where they just get beat. And I honestly, that's nobody's fault but theirs, because they have the technology, they have the ability to go put the work in and figure it out, and it's completely up to them.
Tackle Warehouse has everything you need to get out and catch more bass. Rods for every application or technique. Over 1,000 reels to choose from. Monofilament, braid, and fluorocarbon lines. A massive selection of baits from the smallest to the largest. Exclusive baits and colors only available at Tackle Warehouse. Everything you need to build or customize your favorite lures. And of course, countless options to store it all. Tackle Warehouse. Click, save, fish.
Hey, Northern California bass anglers. Ready to elevate your fishing game? Ford Fairfield partners with Bass Angler Magazine to offer top-notch trucks tailored for your needs. Our simple pricing ensures a fair deal and exceptional service. We live and breathe bass fishing, participating in local tournaments to understand exactly what you need so you never miss a good bite. Visit Ford Fairfield today and let's hit the water together.
Yeah, I think I think what you just said right there, Aaron Martins would have been amazing at it. He was doing basically that same thing with his drop shot before
Yeah,
anybody
on
else was
2D.
doing. Right, he was just looking
Yeah.
down, watch that drop shot. I think people really forget about how much time he spent just staring at his screen.
Yeah,
It's
and
been
nobody
brought up
cared
a
back
little.
then.
Yeah, no one. It was like, oh, that's just the way he fishes. Well, now it's more of a. It's kind of how everybody fishes. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's a little more boring to watch, and there were other things going on. But I mean, he picked those things apart. I mean, he would find those fish, find that school, drop that drop shot down there, shake it exactly where he wanted, fine tune it, put on whatever, and catch fish. And I think you're right. I think if he was still around and that forward facing sonar was going, it would have been in his back pocket for sure all the time. Maybe just in
Yeah,
his front pocket.
and I don't know his age too well, but I don't know, he'd probably be in his young 50s today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, older guy, and I guarantee he'd be dominating with it right now. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just the way it is.
I think guys, I mean, you talk about old people like Marty Lawrence and Mark Pilgrim and stuff, I think I think those guys, they can do it, they still got their time. They can be out there.
I mean, Mark, I don't think Mark's that old, but I'm sure you're just giving him crap. But I mean, yeah, like I was in a pro-am on the river last year with you guys, and I went to go fish an edge, and I was throwing a minnow down it, and I saw Mark Pilgrim staring down at his screen throwing a glide bait like he was scoping. Like, guys can do it. They underestimate how much time a lot of these younger kids have put in to get good with it. And like this whole like Dylan Nutt win the classic using it.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't talk about the fact that he side scanned the entire freaking river for a month straight. And that if there's that, even back before scope, he was dominating. And yeah, it's so funny because the biggest keys with forward facing, like mid strolling,
Right.
you'll just do mid strolling specifically because that's what we're talking about in this. The most old school things that you had to learn about bass fishing, like when you were learning bass fishing back when you were younger, Ed, what were the two most important things like that you had to pattern about bass? It was depth and speed, right?
Yep, that's it.
Depth and speed. Those are the two
and
exact
water temperature. Yeah, those are the three
but you
things
would
you need.
change. Yeah, you would change your depth and speed based off the conditions and how the fish were acting.
100%.
You do the same exact thing with a minnow. Those are the two most important things. How deep you're running your minnow, depending on where the fish is, and the cadence of speed you're bringing it, depending on how the fish is acting. Like the most basic two strategies of bass fishing are the two most important things to the newest, most technologically advanced thing in bass fishing. All the same stuff applies. All the intuition and stuff, understanding, it's almost like bed fishing all the time. Understanding what gets that fish hot, how that fish is acting, what that fish might need to pull the trigger. It's all coincided with itself, and they think it's just see dot, throw it dot, catch dot. And if it was that easy, they'd do it.
It's funny. I was watching oh god, I just interviewed him. The kayak guy. The
one that just caught the giant, Damien Tao.
No, the
Greg Blanchard.
Greg Blanchard, yeah. So,
yeah.
God, sorry, Greg. I've talked to a lot of people all day. So it's one of those things. I was just watching him, and I have not invested in the forward facing sonar because of the fact that I just I went out when it first came out. Mark had put it on his boat. Him and I went out there. We were hitting Berryessa. We were throwing it. And we ended up like spooning, and it's like, I don't think this is how you're supposed to use this thing. it's like okay, but you can, it's a way to do it. I don't think we really had the concept of it and how well it worked. It wasn't until I watched one of Greg's videos where he had put it on his kayak. He was out there and he had his camera on his chest, and I was looking down and I'm watching that thing, and I go, I get it now. I see he was throwing a little bitty Alabama rig thing, little three bait, little one, catching these fish, and it was simply like, oh, I'm throwing out. Yes, I see a dot. Yes, I see a fish. I'm watching, but he was watching everything about it. He was watching how they were reacting to it, when they were reacting to it, what they needed, the speed they wanted it at. He could just, I see finally, it was like, I get what they're looking at now. He wasn't just like you said, throwing at a dot, catching that dot. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that easy. He had to manipulate him, and he had to see what they were doing to make to make that fish bite. But when they did, it was obvious, and it was like, oh, there he is, and he would catch him, and it
Yeah.
was really cool to see. That's the first time I'd ever really watched it and seen it and gone, I get it now. I see what you
Yeah.
guys are looking at. I see what you're doing. But I also noticed that you can, like I just said, Mark and I were ended up spooning with it, and it was one of those things that it's not this mid strolling thing. It's not the only thing you can do to catch fish using
Oh
this
no.
technology. So if you like throwing a jig, if you like throwing a spinnerbait, that is all. It's all part of it, right? I mean, you can use that for any tactic that you want to do. You can still use it, right?
100%, because it's forward facing sonar isn't limited to picking out individual suspended fish and throwing at them. You can use it to target structure, weed lines, docks, anything. Um, I like when I'm throwing a spinnerbait on potholes now, I don't look for fish on my forward facing sonar. I look for where the bushes run out. And then I ball my spinnerbait over it, slow roll it over the top. I'm not picking out individual fish or weed lines or anything like that. Brush piles, you use it to line up your cast, and you can obviously, watch your bait come over it and see how they react and stuff. But like it's so vast, you can bed fish with it. That's still there's the West Coast is pretty behind on that compared to back
Oh,
east.
really?
Yeah, bed fishing is pretty special. With forward facing sonar, we've learned that fish spawn a heck of a lot deeper than we ever thought they did. Um,
Very interesting.
but I should have kept that one in the brain. But yeah, no, I mean, the possibilities with it are unlimited. You can scope them with a freaking topwater, dude.
Hmm.
I've done it.
All right.
It's there's no limit to what you can do with it. It's just being able to apply it efficiently to make you more efficient on the water. And if you're doing something wrong with it, you'd probably be better. Like if I'm just staring at it and I'm not doing it in the correct way, I'd be better off throwing a square bill at the bank. Like it's
Hmm.
not just. It's obviously if people still think it's just turn it on and go catch fish, they're not paying attention, because then the playing field would be so even. It would be a random pick of the hat of who would win every scope tournament every time. It wouldn't be the same guys. It wouldn't be Brendan Osborne winning two in the last 3 months or four
Right.
months or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So no, there's so much to it. I mean, I could go so deep, like on the minnow thing. There's so many little things. I mean, we can talk about that. I mean, I can get kind of deep into certain
Absolutely.
things.
I mean, there are guys out here right now listening to this. They're going to be listening to this show, and they are absolutely awestruck. I mean, this is to me, it's getting kind of, I guess, a little crazy on the fact that there's this head and this head and this head and this head. Now we're talking about mostly the mid strolling where you're throwing a minnow, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what you're doing with it. With the other stuff, I mean, but like what we're talking about, which is kind of really cool to me, is that you can throw it for just about any bait out there in the water you can use. But the mid strolling that we're talking about, I think, is the one that's really got people going, because yourself and Brennan and Luke and all these guys are doing it to win. They are winning tournaments from here all the way back to, Texas and Florida and Alabama and Tennessee. It is just a phenomenon that's come on and it's winning, and people are really looking to go, what do I do to get into it, and how do I use the sonar itself is like any other sonar. I mean, I didn't start. I'm not saying I started here, but when this whole thing started, it was flashers. I mean,
Hmm.
all there was a simple flasher on your on your dash, and you watched that, and you knew when if it you had it dialed, you had it set up, and that was cheating back then. That was one of those things. Oh, I can't believe they're using this, and there were guys always. And then the paper graphs came out, greatest things ever. I had people that still use paper graphs until you couldn't get the paper anymore. I had guys that were, and then it went to electronics, and then it went to this, and then it went to bottom and down. It's never going to stop. It's always going to keep going forward. So learning how far into the minnow thing and how far these people need to go to really do it. I mean, is it a thing that you have to get way into it, or can the average guy pick it up, turn that forward facing sonar on, and go, okay, here's what I need to do. this is what Ty just said. here's how I'm going to catch fish. Let's see if this guy's telling me or not.
Well, I can point you in the right direction, but it's just like anything else. There's no excuse for time on the water. You're gonna have to go spend some time with it. You're gonna have to stumble with it and fail with it and start to learn the thing. It's not gonna happen overnight. You're not like I said, you can't just turn on and start go catching 10-pounders. Like it don't work like that.
Well,
But
then I don't want to do it then.
yeah, you got to put the work in just like anything else, just like deep crankbait fishing or learning how to throw a frog or anything. You just get better at it with time, and guys get discouraged with it quick. And I would say, so if you're just starting out, the first thing you need to figure out how to do is identify a bass. That is the most important. If you spend all day throwing at carp, it's all about efficiency, right? The more accurate, good presentations I make to bass during the day, the more fish I'm going to catch. And it's all about efficiency. So if I spend 3/4 of my day throwing at carp and then 10% of my day throwing at crappie, and then, 15% of my day throwing at bass, and then I only get 2% of those bass to bite, it ain't going to go very good, right? So it's all about being efficient. So bass act pretty, like, as a general term, bass don't change unless they're feeding, don't change depths in the water column constantly like carp do. They don't just swim up and down unless they're feeding. And now sometimes you'll run into them when they're acting weird, and they will. But like as a general term, a bass normally keeps the same pace, just nice, and it'll keep the same pace and the same depth, just kind of swimming, just kind of chilling. Now you'll see, if you see bait blast over it and all of a sudden it flies through them, yeah, obviously it's feeding. But like unless they're spooked or actively feeding or chasing something, normally bass kind of keep the same pace and just kind of swimming nice and chill. They look like a ball with a tail. They're not super long looking. They're not super skinny. They look like a literal ball on your screen, a glowing ball with a tail. If they're swimming away from you, they're going to look a little more fuzzy. If they're sideways, they're going to look a little different. But like in general, a bass, especially swimming at you, you're going to see a ball and you're going to see a little tail wagging behind him. The bigger the fish is, obviously, the bigger that is. And you got your numbers on your graph. I recommend guys keep their grid lines on if they're just starting out. So the grid lines are, say they're 5 feet by 5 feet. I don't even remember. I haven't had them on so long. But say they're 5 feet by 5 feet. If you see a fish that fills that whole box, there ain't no 5-foot bass, promise you. So if you look up your numbers, you're like, okay, from 10 to 15, that fish's head to tail goes all the way to there. It's a catfish. It's a giant carp. It's a sturgeon. It's whatever. Don't waste your time. If you see tiny little dots swimming around together, if they're all balled up like a cloud, they're probably threadfin shad. You can kind of see the individual balls. If you're on Clear Lake, you can see they look like smaller fish, but they're still real grouped up. They're probably hitch, gizzard shad, stuff like that. So just learning how to identify bass, and that's all. The main way you're going to learn that is through time. Throwing at fish and realizing, okay, those are bass. Once you catch a couple, okay, that's what they look like, right? And you'll get better at identifying them through time. So that's the most important thing. And then as far as the minnow goes, depth and speed, as I said, if you try to keep it as high above the fish as you can to get them to react. So if the water's, say, 3-foot visibility, I can keep that bait 5, 6, 7 foot above them normally. And if they're in a decently positive mood, they'll be able to find it and come get it. Every fish is different, though. If you throw at one, first time you bring it over him, try to bring it higher over his head. Because if he does react to it, the odds of him eating it are a lot better because he never gets that good of a look at it. Then, okay, he doesn't even see it or he doesn't move on it. You'll see the fish react. You'll see the fish spin around, stuff like that. So make sure to try to keep it above him as high as possible while still getting him to see it. So say he doesn't see it, throw back at him, let it sink a couple feet closer to him, maybe 3 feet above his head. If he still doesn't see it, whack him over the forehead with it and see what happens. But but every fish is different. Some of them you basically got to hit them with it to get them to even move on it. Some of them, they'll blast from 20 feet underneath of it and come eat it off the surface. And that's where your speed comes in. When the fish reacts and turns and starts swimming towards your bait, you got to match the mood of the fish. If the fish is super lazy, you got to keep it slow, keep it above him, but keep it slow, nice and lazy. Just come on, buddy, come up there and get it. And they're either going to get it or they're not. If they are just hauling, you cannot I know you've seen the videos on YouTube and stuff where somebody's reeling their frog in to make another cast as fast as they can, and whoosh, one comes out from under the boat and eats it. I tell people this all the time when I'm doing my scope trips. You cannot reel faster than a bass can swim. I promise you. If that fish wants to get it, it'll get it.
Yeah.
The only thing, it's almost like when ducks are diving into your decoys and they're committed. The only thing that's going to stop them is if you mess it up. right? If you all of a sudden start calling at them for no reason, scare them off. So if you're going and you stop as she's coming up real fast, or you go way too slow and she gets a good look at it, I mean, get that thing freaking moving. Keep it cat and mouse. Get it away from her, and just because she will get it. If she wants to get it, she's going to get it. And that's the just based on the fish's reaction, how fast they're swimming at it. That's how your speed's going to go. And then I mean, you can get into like quick twitches versus long, heavy rolls, stuff like that. That's all kind of nuanced, to have their preferences for certain times and how the fish are acting. If you're gonna you want to cast past fish, you never want to splash on top of them. If they're super deep, it doesn't matter. But if they're in anything like less than 15 feet down,
Okay.
don't bloop your bait on top of them. It used to not matter, but now they're getting so used to being thrown at
Yeah.
that it's starting to spook them. So you want you want to cast it past them 10 to 15 feet. And you want to reel it over them, get it the distance above their head, and start shaking it to where when they see that bait, it is working correctly. It's not spiraling down, it's not hauling butt, it's looking natural when they see it. And another really important thing is distance. Try to stay as far away from the fish as possible. If you're trolling around, you see one and you're going at it pretty quick, don't cast at it right away. Take your time, slow your boat down, keep your distance from them. I try to keep them 80 plus. But if you're just beginning, try to keep them further than 50 foot from the boat. Your odds just increase. They feel your boat. They're so pressured these days. They know your boat's there. So the further away you can make an accurate presentation of that fish, the better your odds are of making them eat it. And yeah, one thing I probably should. Yeah, I'll say it. Screw it. We're on a podcast. One thing I do is like if a fish is super high up, so like what we call floating, right? So it's like less than 4 feet from the surface, super high up in the water column, sunning or feeding or whatever it's doing. If it's swimming at me at a decent pace and it's within 60 feet, I'll actually try to stop that fish, because the closer it gets to my boat, if I cast past that fish, it's going to take me probably 3 to 5 seconds to get to it. If it's swimming at a decent pace, now instead of 40 feet away, it's 25 feet away. And it's just that much closer to the boat. And your odds just go down so much of getting that fish to bite when they feel your boat. So I will actually skip my minnow over the top of that fish. So a splash will spook them. But if you skip it from in front of them and skip it to where it goes behind them, it doesn't make them turn around normally, but it'll make them stop. They'll hear it and they'll be like, what the hell? And they'll just kind of stop and hesitate. And then I have that time to get my bait to that fish before it's swimming to my trolling motor. And I probably shouldn't have said that because I don't think very many people do that. But that's something. I mean, there's so many different things, man. But like basic general minnow fishing, always keep your bait above the fish. You can't reel faster than a bass can swim. If they're coming and they're coming quick, keep it moving. You don't always have to shake it. Change your cadence just like anything else. If you're fishing a crankbait, you try it fast, you try it slow, you change your jerkbait cadences, all this stuff. Change your minnow cadences. Try shaking it really fast. Try a long, slow twitch, and your head sizes and stuff. If maybe they want it burning by them, and so you switch to a 1/4 ounce. Maybe they want it real slow, walking over their head, so you change it to a 16th. Like all that stuff is all general bass fishing knowledge that people know, and you just have to apply it to the technology.
Hey folks, Randall and I want to talk to you real quick about choosing the right electronics mount for your bass boat.
Mark and I have been partnered with Bass Boat Technologies from the very beginning, and we know the quality and effort that Van Foster has put into this company.
Custom, that's the one thing that I think about whenever I think of Bass Boat Technologies. Van Foster has spent years, not hours, years perfecting these mounts. He works with just about every bass boat company out there, most models for every bass boat company out there. He has spent the time working on these bass boats. So what you get is a custom fitted mount, not some mass produced universal mount for every bass boat out there. Van makes them custom fit for your bass boat.
Bass Boat Technologies also makes a lot of other custom parts. Seat pedestal plugs, tool holders, steering wheel spacers, and battery trays are all made with the same attention to detail that Bass Boat Technologies is known for.
Bass Boat Technologies is a vital part of our livelihood, and it's very important to your overall boating experience also.
Absolutely, and that's why we choose Bass Boat Technologies. Check them out at bassboattech.com. You'll be glad you did.
Man, that sounds like a whole bunch to learn, but you know what? It sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. When it works, it's super fun.
Yeah, it's one of those, we watch, like I said, we watch it all over the country, and you're seeing this thing just absolutely turn on and go. It wasn't that long ago, and it's really kind of funny because the Alabama rig was one of those ones that they wanted to outlaw, they wanted to ban, they wanted to change all these things because it came out, it was doing well, people were catching fish, people were doing, it was saying. Now I see them, using both of them, using the forward facing sonar, and they're using these Alabama rigs, these new little ones, the little tiny,
Oh yeah.
things. Now you're up there fishing. We've got one. Let's start this. One, we've got the Pro-Am coming up on the Delta. You coming down?
No, I can't make that one, but I will be at
Okay.
all the PNW programs, the Potholes, Moses, and the River.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I just couldn't. I just couldn't swing. I'm going to the Clear Lake here in a few days for
Oh, okay.
the One Bass Open, and then yeah, I couldn't swing it. It's too many. I'm fishing like 26 freaking tournaments this year. I couldn't fit another one.
Well, you'll be missed down there, but it's one of those things. We're going to come up your way. We'll be up in the Pacific Northwest. We're going to be fishing some really good. Let's say that about Moses. No, there's not a lot of people that know about it. It's one of those ones that's in. I don't want to say it's in your backyard, but it's definitely closer to you than it is me.
Yeah,
What do you think about it? How is it going to fish? Is it a good tournament that we're looking at, or what do you
it'll
think?
be
And how's the turnout going to be? Are there going to be guys showing up?
there should be a lot better than last year. I think with Bam just coming on, just starting up there, a lot of guys were kind of hesitant, but they saw all the cool stuff we're doing. So I think your numbers will be better. Moses, it'll be for the guys that hate forward facing sonar, they should get in their trucks and drive up there because it's gonna be kind of like Paul's. It'll be a shallow water beat down grinder tournament. It's a shallower lake. It's got everything. It's almost like a mini Clear Lake. It's got grass, it's got tulies, it's got rocks, it's got docks, but it does have smallmouth in it and a healthy population of smallmouth. Um, that time of year, it's going to be late spawners / post spawn. They'll be pretty beat up. The lake doesn't fish huge, and it'll be following up next to the Nixon's invite, so they will be a little beat up. But there are so many 4 to 6 pound fish of both colors in that lake.
Wow.
I mean, it's gonna take some weight. It'll probably take 20 a day, maybe even more. Like they had a club tournament up there, and there was a few 8-pounders weighed in largemouth. I mean, it's got big ones, and they live shallow. I'm gonna try to find a scope bite just to be different. But I'm probably gonna be up there throwing a frog and flipping and throwing a vixen and a sexy dog and burning a spinnerbait and doing everything else just like all the other guys. I mean, it's a shallow water fishery. They just live shallow there. There's not a lot of deep structure in that lake. But I'm sure there's some roaming out there with the carp somewhere that I'm going to try to find. But no, it's northern strain largemouth just naturally live shallow and they live on the bottom. So scope doesn't dominate as much up here, nearly as much as it does in places with shad. Our fish just don't suspend near as much. It obviously plays, but just not. It doesn't dominate. Like when everybody calls me a scoper all the time. I top 10 the Pro-Am on potholes last year on a spinnerbait and a frog. Like I wasn't looking at it, but that I tried to figure out a scope bite, but like it's just that those fisheries are just, especially that time of year. I mean, guys are going to catch them off beds. Guys are going to catch them on top water. There's going to be guys that bring in 20 pounds of largemouth and guys that bring in 20 pounds of smallmouth, mixed bags. It's going to be a fun tournament. It'll fish pretty small. It'll be a little bit of combat fishing, but it'll be fun. Pressured fish. Guys will catch them. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good one for cows because there's a lot of flats in that lake that smallmouth just roam. So a guy could be flipping reeds on the bank and a guy could literally bomb a topwater to the middle of the lake and catch a 6-pound smallmouth. Like, so it'll be a fun tournament. I would definitely, anybody on the fence about that one, if you like power fishing or finesse fishing, but you like fishing shallow, that's going to be a fun tournament.
All right, that sounds good. Let's see what else we've got. We're gonna have Columbia River, and we're gonna have
potholes, I believe.
Potholes, yeah. So I mean, potholes showed out. It showed what it could be. I think the guys got called out from that one last year when we went up there. The local club guys that were there were like, I do not know where everybody's at. They better get here next year. They better be here.
Yeah.
And then I think this year, I think we're going to. I think we're still going out of Boardman, right? We're going out of the Boardman pool, or are we going to go up?
Yeah,
I didn't remember.
Yeah, for the Pro-Am, I believe we're still going out of Boardman. And
Okay,
then
yeah,
for the Pro Tour, we're going to go out of Columbia Point, I
that's
believe.
what it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. But yeah, the potholes one, don't even get, and the Umatilla one, don't even get me started. All our Facebook groups for the last 5 years have been complaining, no big tournaments come up here, no big tournament. Then they finally do it, and it's all California guys. It's well, why do you think they don't come up here? You know what I mean? They can't waste their money if no boats are going to show up. I mean, I don't know how many we had, Apollo 70 or something like that, but it's like, well, there's no reason. There's no reason that, I mean, Nixon's puts on a great big bass splash tournament to win a boat, right?
Yeah,
A Vexus boat at that.
right.
And there will be 150 to 200 boats at that, I guarantee you. So
Well,
BAM puts on a Pro-Am
Yep.
to win a Vexus boat. There's no reason we shouldn't get 100 plus boats on both of those tournaments. I hope we do. But yeah, no, it does bother me because guys do complain about big trails not coming up here, and then we get a big trail up here, and it's like, why do you think they don't come back? They spend all this money to get their whole crew down there, travel all this equipment down there, and then they don't make their money back because nobody freaking shows up.
Look up and see a crowd out there. Trust me, I will do my best to entertain you. It's one of those. It's
No
one of those
doubt.
things that I like the area. It's really nice. The fishing, the everybody talks about it up there. When I was up there, it was a really cool area just to be. I mean, you live in a great area up there, in that part of the world.
Yeah.
And I went around, drove around, checked it all out. It was great. There was plenty to do. It's not like there's not a lot of things to do.
Yeah.
There's plenty to do when you're up there. So yeah, it was a great little town. And yeah, I don't know. I hope people come
Yeah,
out
I'd
and
say
watch it.
our region, I'd say the Pacific Northwest is the most underrated region for bass fishing in the country.
Yeah, I never really thought about it
There's,
before. I never thought about it that being a
yeah,
bass fishing mecca that it is, and it really is. I hear about the Nixon tournaments and some of the other. I can't remember all the names of the tournaments that run up there, but they say there's some big tournaments to go out of there, 150 boats.
yeah, and it's like all those local guys fish that, and those are team tournaments. A lot of
Right.
guys like fishing team tournaments. They like going out with their buddy and splitting the cost and all that. I get that, but I posted something last year, something along the lines of, all you guys, I better not see one. If I see anybody complaining on Facebook about no big tournaments coming up here, I better go back to the potholes results and see your freaking name on that list somewhere. You know what I mean? Because it's like, so. But no, I think there was a lot of guys on the fence, with recent problems
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff that tournaments have had up here. I think now that, and I think just in general, even some California guys that still stuck with one bats and stuff. I mean, you see the numbers growing and stuff, and that's just people are realizing that BAM's doing a great thing and really has anglers in mind and trying to grow something special out here. So you're just going to see more and more people jump over the fence and take the leap. And yeah, I would guess, I don't know, I would hope we're going to have 90 to 100 boats in the
That'd be good.
Pro-Ams. That's going to be my hope. I'd be shocked if we have less than 80. That time of year, it's wide open. It's not like any locals are going to dominate. It's going to be just shallow water beat down, good old freaking passing. And I love doing that. As much as people hate to believe it, that's my favorite way to fish. So it'll be fun for sure. If you guys are on the fence, make sure you sign up for that one. Co's, pros, anything like that. Yeah, it's going to be a dang good time.
Well, this is the time of the show when I give you about the last 5 to 10 minutes of this thing to kind of tell everybody, Ty came on here. Almost everybody out there knows who you are, but you know what? There's some guy sitting across the country that's listening to this show going, who? So Ty, this is your time to kind of let everybody know, who you are, what you do, where you come from. I know you were out planting sugar beets today, so it's kind of an interesting little thing what you do, on the side. And yeah, thank your sponsors. Tell everybody about this thing, man. And yeah, let everybody know who just gave them all this great information. Big things are happening in Boardman, Oregon. At the heart of it all, the Boardman Chamber of Commerce and Boardman Community Development Association, working together to create opportunities, support local businesses, and build a thriving community. From new business growth to family-friendly events, workforce development, and expanding local resources, Boardman is making it happen. Looking to live, work, or invest in a growing community? Boardman is ready for you. Boardman's Community Development Association, strengthening Boardman's economy, one project at a time.
Yeah, so I'm Ty Manterola, born and raised on a family farm. Never really grew up around bass fishing besides like fishing farm ponds and stuff. Fell in love with it at a young age, but it was just a passion hobby. Ended up getting into it through a buddy in high school. Fished my first tournament first time ever in a bass boat was when I was 17, which was 5.5 years ago. Yeah, just just fell in love with it. Basically every waking hour since then I've spent trying to get better at it and enjoying it, and chasing the dream with it. Got a beautiful young daughter, and chase her and her mom just chasing me around fishing the deal. And the opportunity with BAM, with my young family, had to stay out. Was planning on going back east, but then with my young family, decided to stay back home. And with the opportunity with BAM, I was able to join the pro tour and had some success. I don't know if you can hear her in the background; she's talking to me right now. But had some success, and yeah, thank you to BAM for that opportunity. All my sponsors, couldn't do it without them. Obviously, it's not cheap doing this deal, and especially trying to support a family doing it. Block One Distillery, new title for me this year. They're really helping keep me going. They're a local farm to bottle potato vodka company. We're not distributing outside of Washington yet, working on the legal side of things for that. But when you guys come up to Tri-Cities, we are going to we're in pretty much every bar and store. Maybe I'll talk to one of the local bars or something around here. Maybe when we go to when we go to Columbia Point, we can get a little event going, maybe night before, night after tournament, something like that. But yeah, Bass Boat Wired, Strike King, Lose, Thor Lithium, Hong Stomper, Clear Lake Outdoors, Nixon's Marine, Skeeter Yamaha, Seagar. I got so many, man. That's all credit to BAM. When I went into my rookie season, I didn't have anything. I didn't have any sponsors. Bass Boat Wired had helped me out, some, but like they weren't, like seriously committed to me. And I told them where our plans were with all this stuff, and they jumped aboard really quick. So huge thank you to them taking a shot. But just in 1 year of having a good rookie season, the amount of sponsor support that has jumped on with me, it's all credit to BAM and the platform they've given us. So thank you to Mark, thank you to you, Bray, everybody, because I would not be doing it without that. And yeah, hi to all my family. But yeah, no, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Ty_Manterola. Still working on getting YouTube stuff. It's hard to find editors and camera boats and all this stuff. I've got some content, trying to work on getting more. It's also expensive, renting camera boats and editors and stuff like that. So trying to get all that figured out. But yeah, follow me. It's Ty_Manterola, I think, on all platforms. If you ever have any questions, I actually do live scope lessons. Where I jump on your boat, dial in your unit, do your settings and everything, kind of teach you about the midge trolling or drop shotting or whatever technique you want to learn, and kind of just ins and outs of it. So yeah, hit me up on a DM and I can come to you and do that. I try to do as many as I can. And yeah, so if you listen to this and felt like you want to know more, learn more, you want to see it live in action, definitely hit me up on that. Or if you just have any small questions, you gotta, you were talking about this, but what braid should I throw? I'll DM you back and send you a link to Seagar PEX8 sink and braid. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's pretty cool. I love doing these podcasts. I love talking bassing. So if any of you guys ever have any questions, yeah, definitely just give me a shout. I'm always open to, I don't really keep any secrets. So I'm happy to share with you what I can.
Yeah, that was obvious. You let off some stuff that I think people are getting mad at now. I'm just kidding. I love that you come on the show and you feel so comfortable. You can open up and, just tell everybody out there all these things. That's great, man. It makes me feel.
It's your soft, soothing voice.
Exactly. It makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside that I can bring these things out.
That's funny.
I'll get you guys. So yeah, man, I can't wait. Sorry you won't be there. It's our next tournament is at the Delta. You won't be there for that one, but you know what? We'll be coming your way soon right after that, so it'll be fun to see you guys up there. Can't wait to. I'm glad the baby's doing good, and the family's doing great. So yeah,
I appreciate it, man.
Good to be on your home waters up there and watching you fish and having you come across that stage, man. It'll be good.
Yeah, it will. I'm tired of dealing with all these freaking California lakes.
I thought you were just gonna say Californians, but California lakes. I got it. So, all right, Ty. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This was a great show. And again, I'll always tell you, if you didn't get anything out of that, go back and listen again. You missed a whole lot. Ty dropped a bunch of stuff right there, including some things he wasn't opposed to. So, all right, Ty. Thanks for doing the show. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, thanks, man.